So, good. What's we going to do Q&A, or do you want me to...
Tell us secrets, love.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been interesting because I was up in Adepticon a few months ago and I asked a group about this number slightly more. And I said, well, look, these are the next ideas we've got for Kickstarters, and here's the things that we'd like to do next. And I said, okay, so if you get 2 votes each, let's say, and we'll see which are the 2 most favourite ideas. And we had 4 ideas. One got 6 votes. One got 7 votes, the other got 7 votes, the other got 6 votes. So everyone, and I said, if you all had 4 votes, who would go for all of them? And all of them got all, yeah. But obviously we're going to have a Kickstarter that's going to go live tomorrow, which is going to be pretty exciting. Who's thinking of jumping into that one? Who's definitely yeah, okay. A few. So, I mean, I think the interesting thing we've done there is just going to do a couple of things properly and a little bit of other. I don't say anything too rude then. Firstly, you know, I think there hasn't been a really mainstream dungeon crawler for a very long time. You know, you go back to kind of Hero Quest, and the number of people that got into our hobby through that game is just phenomenal. You know, and I'm sure there's some people in this room who were, I said, you know, when I was at workshop, the whole generation of store managers who that had been their first product and then found out and started collecting toy soldiers from that. And I think the other one is, I think, there's great games out there, there's lots of great games out there, but unless you've played games before, it's quite hard to get into them. And what I'm trying to do with this Dwarf King's Hold is make it the first game that you can get your hands on as a kind of the boys with the right kind of genes to go on and collect, and I think it can be really good fun, and the fact we're going to be able to put in a single piece plastics but without the loss of detail and really kind of flat pose. There's going to be a whole load of posing in it. We can get them assembled for you. They can be coloured without being painted, so they take paint just like the Mars Attack stuff, but those that don't quite have time to do it can go, okay, well there's the bone, that's clearly the undead, here's the heroes. And I think that gateway product, both for you as a group to introduce new people, because you know, here or anywhere, it all comes from someone having the first game and saying, right, let's play this tonight, let's have a go on this. And with Dreadpool, that's been really successful, but a nice, simple, straightforward dungeon crawler. But at the same time as doing the club, you know, I won't be able to do it. I've got kids of the right age now, but more and more where you can introduce people into a hobby, because I think our hobby is fantastic and worthwhile. And we don't have 300 stores, so we're going to have to make sure that the games and the videos that work together allow people to get in. If you enjoy it, then you can go on and start thinking about whether you want to play Kings of War or some of the other games, you know, the next stage game like Red Bull or whatever. And so the second thing that the Dwarf King's Quest is going to do is it's going to give us an opportunity, like Dead Zone did, to create a really great story and insight into the Kings of War world. So there's been quite a lot of time spent on it, not just, hey, here's 4 adventurers and off they go. It's actually why we're there, what's the story, how's it come about, where's the dungeon situated, so that on one level there's a little interest and intrigue into the whole Kings of War story. There's a powerful artefact, the necromancer's got it, and actually the 4 heroes are sent down really what they think is on a suicide mission, but just to delay them. So they can slow them down, so they've all sent people that are really very talented but expendable to go down, fight him, slow him, they know they can do that. Can you find the wards, can you switch that stuff, can you set by the book, that thing. But I think at the end, you know, if they rise triumphant out of the dungeon, they're going to see the 4 armies, the other 3 armies of the elves, the dwarves and the humans with 40,000 troops waiting for him to come up and raise the undead army that they think he's going to raise. So I think it's really nice that we're going to be able to do a load of narrative stuff about Kings of War again.
So is that going to be like the other sort of wizard, barbarian, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, the game is going to start with, we'll see if you can guess.
A wizard?
A wizard, a human wizard, dwarf,
a ranger,
ranger and the elf ranger.
Yeah.
The elf that does the ranger thingies. So, and it's one of those things, because we said, you know, when you do Kickstarter, it funds what other things would you do? And it was quite interesting that after you got past, so there's the first 4. What's next after that? You can go character, class or race. You can
Cleric,
rogue, rogue, thief, paladin,
bard.
bard. Yeah, and that's I'm walking down the dungeon. Ukulele, get out, get out. I'm bringing a hammer or some magic.
When I'm shooting or things.
Get out, get out. Stand in the corner.
How about henchmen?
Yeah. And I think as soon as you go past those 7 or 8, quite quickly you get into
the silly ones
territory or NPC or support roles. And so we've done the Hobbit as a thief, the halfling, Hobbit, where they are. Yeah, because that's a classic way you combine the two. It goes
halfling, surely.
Yeah, halfling. Yeah, otherwise I'll be dragged into the court. I think the sister of battle is the cleric. So, and that's quite good fun, and that's
like Man-at-Arms as a paladin? Or?
Yes, paladin is a Basilean.
Yeah.
Basilean paladin. And then we actually, the fun one, I think the next guy is a Salaman, which is from the Nature Army.
Ooh.
So he's a shapeshifter. So that's where on the next 4, where we've gone past the absolute archetypes, we've gone into some of the kind of more interesting and quirky stuff. And then there's another couple of characters if the expansion packs, if we get into those, so kind of going up to 10.
And is it all sort of like necromantic monsters they'll be facing going through the dungeon?
Yeah. So it starts with, it's been quite hard work because we all as experienced gamers want to make the absolute ultimate, super hardcore, best dungeon crawler you could ever make. And so I spent so much time talking to Jake and Stuart about, and then we put traps in, and this, and experience, and levels up. You can, but remember, what people want to do on a Tuesday night when they come down here is to be able to pop a game open, set it up, lay it out, and play.
Yeah.
And so you've got to trade off, and it's difficult to get that trade-off between the immediacy of just, like last night, we were all just playing games. You need to just be able to pop it out, have everything you need to just get going. And a group of you playing week in, week out, the same game and letting it develop. And so I said, well, what you have to do is, the top part of this game is my game. It's mine, it's the basic game, so you can just play it whenever, wherever. I said, and then we'll make a product called the Book of Depravity. And in it we will put all the depraved and deep and interesting ways of playing a kind of tabletop role-play game that we all want to see. I said, this one is a board game that you play right away, introduce your mates, and I can enjoy it. This one over here is this book where, and I think because what's interesting, and I think this is where it changes, if there's a fair balanced game, and it starts, the first couple of scenarios, scenario A and B, the first one is the barbarian and the dwarf walking down the corridor to meet up with the elf and the wizard. The reason that's first is it introduces movement and fighting. And you get used to your stat line, you get used to your skills, it should take you 10 minutes. But even then, when you first play it, you go, well, let's just play this one. Scenario B is the wizard and the elf. Why? Because they've got magic and they've got bows. Less about the movement and the fighting now, it's now about another set of skills. So we take that you know how to move and fight, add those two, right, now you can do everything this game has. At the same time, the necromancer has learned moving and fighting in this one, and archery and some of his extra skills in this one. So scenario 1 then starts with the 4 of them going through and trying to get through, the first of the levels, and they start picking up equipment as they go. But instantly you've got 4 heroes, each of them can do actions, each of them got special rules, they've got to start coordinating, you've got to know your way around the stat line. So if you've got someone who's playing the undead that's teaching you, that's easy. But actually, if you're playing for the first time or whatever else, I think you can go straight to that scenario. You don't need the basic ones if someone's going to walk you through it. But if the 2 of you are going to do it, actually, you'll be playing in 20 minutes, you'll be playing in 5 minutes, You play, let's play the first scenario. The first two don't matter. What that allows us to do is two things, and this is the long answer to, tell me about the undead range.
Yeah.
Is that the first couple is just some skellies and some zombies, and then there's armoured zombies, and then there's armoured skeletons, but they're not human.
Armoured zombies.
Armoured zombies. Yeah, armoured zombies that just walk around. Armoured, so revenants, but as you know in our Kings of War range, our undead revenants are human. So in this one, we've made it dwarves.
That's cool.
Yeah, so they're starting to say that actually it's still revenant, it's still armoured, but instead of being human, it's a dwarf. You go on, and so as the levels progress, two things happen. We scale the heroes up for you. So at the end of scenario 1, you find the crypt, and on it is the Hammer of Doom. Okay, dwarf takes Hammer of Doom. Next scenario, the dwarf character now says, as you said at this scenario, the dwarf has the Hammer of Doom. Give him the +1 equipment card, and remember to add a +1. So he no longer has 4 dice, he now has 5. The wizard finds a spell of Doom. He no longer has. You can see a theme here. He no longer has 2 spells. He has 3. Take a 3rd spell or allocating this spell. And as we go through, so if you set up, you say, oh, you know what? We played that Kings, the Dwarf King's whole game the other week. It was great. We played scenario 1. Let's play scenario 2. You go back to the same characters, a little bit more of a setup. Now you're not just fighting the zombies and the skeletons, the armored skeletons. There's a dwarf king at the end of it, or there is some ghosts in this one, or there's a zombie troll. And so each and every level, they start scaling up, so that you can imagine the end of the second one, a zombie troll. Scenario 4 comes around, each of them are buffed a bit, they've all killed a few things. Turn your character cards over, they're no longer heroic, they're now legendary. They've all got more armour, they've all got now 2 or 3 skills that they can deploy. They've all got the Hammer of Doom and the Shield of Doom and the Magic Book of Doom, and all of a sudden now, but if you played the early scenarios, you no longer need to think about the complexity of the spells or using the skills. You know all that stuff. You've taught it. It's all come along, so you can work combos. And there's chat about can the barbarian throw the elf so that they can drop, whatever the combos can be. You can have that more complexity because you know the basics of moving, shooting. And so as they get tougher, the baddies get tougher. Now it might be that there's 2 zombie trolls and a zombie troll shaman. So you're not fighting one zombie troll as the end level hero, they're the henchman. And so it just keeps scaling up, it keeps toughening up. The joy of zombie trolls is that they regenerate. So as fast as you're putting them down, they're going back up again. So now your heroes are knocking lumps off things. So you get that lovely kind of progression, but you don't need to do anything. There's no in-between game time, so someone doesn't need to be the DM and roll up what skill do you get. It needs to just balance them all for you.
It's controlled.
It's nicely controlled. So also, if there's 2 of you, you just want to play a battle, it's a complete straight skirmish. I'll take the heroes, you take the undead, let's have at it. And in an hour, you can play through a real nice battle, and it's going to be tactical. I'm going to move mine around, I know what I'm trying to do, you know what you're trying to do, I'm using my skill sets. So really a nice 8 scenarios that both have some of the best bits of kind of career progression and a story, a really strong narrative with heroes that you can revisit. I'll see you next week and we'll play scenario 2, scenario 3, scenario 4. And at the same time, a straight good skirmish game. And I think actually if you play all 8 scenarios through a game with the load of heroes, you get to the end of that and you go, oh, bloody well, I enjoyed that. It was great fun. We played it both ways and both sides. What we're then going to, so I think there's a joy in just that. In the game, I think we'll end up, if it comes out, with 4 more heroes. So the first thing we do is say, play it again, but now this time, here's the heroes, here's some of the stats. And we'll give you some examples of how they scale up. Or, if you do this, give them that equipment. So they're just a new setup, give this hero that in this scenario, and you can balance them out. But of course, by that point, it's not going to be as perfectly balanced as that first playthrough is going to be, because the cleric will have different ways of killing the zombie troll than the barbarian or whatever. And I think that's a great game, great Hero Quest-esque, play through, pick up and go. The Book of Depravity, which will start in the game, and I think we're going to put on the top, abandon hope, all ye who enter here. This way lies madness. Because everybody who wants to take a dungeon game on wants different things. Some wants to be the DM and write their own adventures. So we'll give you all the stats for every Kings of War undead figure. And maybe some others that we don't make, but other companies do. Here you go. Go and help yourself to load. It's an undead themed dungeon. Here it is. Build your own. Traps. Treasure. Well, they're two separate. Traps, obviously, if you play through the top scenarios with the expansion, do you want to say, well, what's interesting for the thief? So maybe the doors have to be locked. And so where time is of the essence, that's how you can make those good interesting. But traps start coming into it, pits and all those kind of great little fun things that you can start adding. Treasure, well, treasure's only useful if you get to spend the money that you're collecting. So I think as soon as you start getting treasure in, you start talking about it almost becoming the edge of a tabletop roleplay game, which is very exciting if you get to generate your own character. And then your character levels up. And when I started playing World of Warcraft, I went online and I went, oh, I see what they're doing here. It's the whole collect experience points, get better equipment, oh, okay, I understand that. I'm not falling for that. I can see what they're doing. 3 months later, I must collect all the thing. Oh God, more experience. I'm not going to level up, Because we all do it. That's what we love, just scale it up and collect. And so I think you can collect, so suddenly money comes in. The whole in-between game, end of the game, but the association you have with that character is really now defining. Then you can play the whole top adventure again with your own characters. And I think that's probably the most exciting is, here's 8 guys, here's the character classes, play through the top scenarios with them. But as you get into that book, people want different things. We could give you more scenarios, which is play through with different, but you really want that depth to collect the figures you want, to scale your character up, to build dungeons that you want to play. So there is no one way of playing at that point. All you have is, here are some heroes, here are some monsters. If you want to, you can add more monsters. Here's some tiles, here's a combat system, here's a character development system. Pick what you want. Pick and choose as you want to create what your group wants to do. And we'll give you these 5 pieces that you can do. You all know the system now because you've all played it through with 8 great scenarios and balanced it and won it and lost it many times. Okay, but how do you want to play? And then it might be that people say, we love it, we just want more straight scenarios. So, the idea for the next 2 expansion packs would be greenskins. So, 8 scenarios, or 6 scenarios, story after story. Then there's 2 interesting things. We're thinking that the core game sits in the middle. The expansion packs we'd assume you have got no other expansion packs. It wouldn't be a line. You wouldn't need the Orc one, and then it would just be, okay, you've got the basic heroes and the Orc set. The 2 questions were, should the story carry on? Should it be the same heroes at legendary level? The difficulty with that is getting enough baddies to make it interesting for your tough guys. Can it be the same heroes but kind of reset? They've come out, but here they are, another adventure. Or should it be a totally new storyline, where there's a new dwarf and they're now no longer chasing Multibris, but they are.
How much would it take to make the set a standalone one? How much rules are there to include? And
it's things like the tiles. So they'll always have some tiles, but the tiles, cards, money, chits, character sheets. Those are the things. It basically doubles it. Because you get about half. You're going to have a box. You're going to have some tiles. You're going to have a load of plastic orcs, but you don't need the heroes. So you take out 10 sculpts. So I think it's it's a nice idea, but very quickly you end up going 50 quid, 50 quid, 50 quid. I've spent 50. I want to add a 25 quidder. And so I think that makes a lot of sense. I want 20 orcs and goblins, please, and scenarios. So those, some of the things where I think would be good fun. I think there'd be a playthrough narrative, and in each one we could also say, and here's all the stats for all the orcs and goblins. Here's how new magic works. Here's how other things that go back into that core. So you'll both add on a straight play. So if people have enjoyed, Ron, we love those scenarios. Let's just do that again. We'll play through some those that want to pick and choose and build their own and take it on to a kind of whole another level of game. They can do it.
And got Twilight Kin or anything like that? Is plans for any of that sort of stuff to be done?
With the third one, we're hopeful if we get there, it will be abyssals.
Abyssals, right?
Demons, devils.
Very nice.
Dark, cavernous stuff. We're then able to put in, the abyssal dwarf as character classes to expand it out. But yeah, let's get some of those abyssal armies starting to get out there, and that'll be really cool and good fun. We've got some great sculpts there, so that would give us 2 of those kind of expansion packs. I suspect the Book of Depravity will end up being a 200-page Dungeon Master's guide to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Can I be on page
it's
1?
amazing.
Can I be on page 1?
Yeah. It'll be.
Standing there, smiling in the banana.
King of the Depravity.
King of Depravity. Every page. Every page.
Having watermark.
Yeah. So there's little where you flick through the pages and you I think some of the other fun things we're going to do is we'll do kind of boxes for people that don't have any Kings of War models. So you just get a nice collection, just add them on, and then if you want to start playing out your dungeons, you can go there. We're talking about making the legendary figures, and originally we were thinking, do we put in the game the 4 basic heroes and then them legendary? But actually everyone said no, they'd much rather have 4 more character classes, so that you've got that real choice in the base game, particularly when you play through again. But so we kind of may well offer all those models as premium resin exclusives, just only time you get them in resin. So there's a dwarf, and there's a dwarf in mega armour and really cool pose and everything else. So we're going to take those on and just say, here's some things. It's both a good sculpt opportunity. It's a good, it might draw in some of the people in America. D&D and Pathfinder are just huge. So we can bring those in as backers. Of course, it drives the total up, which means we all get more toys. Hurrah! And so having sets there, they're really nice sculpts. People know we care about our miniatures. That's very important to us. So I think we'll offer some of those kind of legendary, single, unique painter pieces and collector pieces for the people who will put that together. Join the Kickstarter. Missed anything?
The board or the terrain?
Yes, it will be proper thick cardboard, 2 mil, double glued, exactly the same as in the centre. Exactly the same level. We'll probably put it's going to be a slightly more stone effect, than the centre's quite outdoorsy and quite big blocks, so it's going to be tiles.
So no one at the office has yet so far considered the insanity of making plastic terrain.
Yeah, right. We did consider it.
Oh,
Yeah. 2 things that happens. One thing was that people were saying, look, we love your Kickstarters, but $350 to get everything's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so we heard that, just because we can doesn't mean we should. So it's $100. There's going to be 500 early birds, so at half one. But it's $100, so 60 to 63 quid. Include shipping, game, expansions, all of it. It's a nice price point to get everything that we're going to get done. If you put hard plastic scenery in there, instantly you have to go to the $150 level, maybe the 200.
Yeah.
Because to get enough, you're going to need 10 sprues. So it changes the nature of the game. The second thing was, I was going to say it wasn't any better, it wasn't as good. Because you can get this art, you can get every shape you want. The way it's designed, we had a long discussion about jigsaw. Do we make them jigsaw? Problem with jigsaw is if you do jigsaw, they only join where they join. Whereas if you remember in Dwarg's Hold, there was one that was like that, and then the room came out, and then was there. And you can join on the side where there's those 2 stems, so you kind of come up, there can be 2 rooms on the side there, and 1 at the end. And that can be a complete dungeon, just with 3 rooms, because there's so many pinch points and pressure points. So I think the views were, it would be very hard to make it work, you would end up with lots of just 2x2s into rooms that would be 4x4 and 6x6, maybe a few clipping pieces. So there wouldn't have been the variety and versatility. And secondly, when you put them down, it just didn't quite get there, you know?
It couldn't be coloured, I assume, as well.
Could be coloured. I mean, we could have done it in a grey, a stone colour, or something like that. But it was a great. It was one of those things that I wanted to do it. My starting point was, you know what? If we fund out to here, let's just do a whole range of plastic terrain.
Right at your own.
Absolutely, exactly. And you want to push it, so let's see how far we go. And so the starting point was, let's try and do it. And I got a load of the plastic tile. You know, in our scenery set is the one that's 9. It almost looks like a kind of sci-fi dungeon floor, basically. And I clipped half of them together, and I went, it's as good as a cardboard, a nicely drawn, really well-made, thick cardboard tile. It's not good. And then you lose the flexibility, you lose some of the shape, you lose some of the character, and you go, okay, no, it's not right. It's not right to do for this. Definitely worth thinking about, definitely worth asking the question, but it's probably not.
Are you thinking doing like plastic connected doors, like similar idea like you got in here in Quest, or?
As one of the stretch goals, I think we just go into a system of clips,
Yeah.
which have doors and furniture.
Yeah.
You know, you can do it with card, but plastic would be cooler. So I think one of the early stretch goals is let's get furniture, let's get a good clip system.
The furniture in the studio right now is gorgeous.
Pardon?
The furniture in the studio is gorgeous.
Don't worry about it, Ron. It's all waterproof. Not for your phone. We do have some.
It's the Ronnie.
You clean the rest of the closet.
It's the Ronnie.
There we are. Moving swiftly on.
The dental box is still standing, you haven't got them all.
Nothing can knock that over. Can't even lift it.
Anything wrong there?
Water bottle of doom.
For the future, I mean, you're saying this is an introductory game. I can't really see people moving on to the Kings of War battle straight away from that. So are you going to have a Kings of War skirmish game, a role-playing game, or anything like that?
I think this is the Kings of War role-play game. Outside of, if the license gets bigger and someone comes and says, I'd love to do a role-play game, we say, yeah, lovely, great, get on with it. But I think until that point, this is the role-play game, and the games we make feature centre around the soldier.
Yeah.
And the main part of one of our games is that you look and what is going on there is the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I've thought long and hard about board games because obviously they're very popular and they're very easy for people to get into. And I said, listen, our line is when the miniature is not the central point, we don't do it. I'm a toy soldier man, that's what Mantic is about, that's our line. So we'll have good stack cards over here, but it's him that's fighting. It's not Cluedo, it's not the gathering of information, it's the movement over there. So I think the book of Depravity after this Kickstarter could well be a really very close to a tabletop role-play game, but it will be our role-play game. After that, we'd love someone to do a role-play game, but they're going to have to do it.
So what about the Dead Zone like skirmish?
That's what I was thinking. Like a fantasy skirmish game.
I think it's a fantastic idea, and I think we do two things with that. I think it's something we're going to do. We do it on a map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With plastic huts and buildings.
in a ruined castle.
Yeah.
With a vampire, undead team.
Sounds like you thought about this.
Chris Pound's idea, actually.
But introducing fantasy plastic to the battle range.
Absolutely. We do a whole range of plastic scenery for fantasy. We
Yeah.
do 4 factions, scaling up to 6 factions. Kind of gold, hunting for treasure and items with a strong narrative, but really kicking the crap out of the guy opposite you.
Yeah.
Exactly like Dead Zone. Lot more, melee combat and a little bit of archery. But I think that'll make a fantastic game. I think it'll be great.
Start saving there.
Yeah.
Now that one, you see, that's where I said this one was going to be $100, 60 quid. You go when you're looking for a plastic castle, mats, all 4 factions.
I was using the stat lines so you want to take your heroes into Kings of War. If you got Kings of War, Dwarf Army, you can take your Dwarf Hero legendary level as he comes out the tomb. And
Yeah, it's always good fun of doing that. I mean, I think what we certainly will do is take a lot of the. So there's a skeleton archer, so I can see people buying up, a few packs of the undead in this, and you're going to get plastic zombie trolls, you're going to get zombie archers. So quite quickly you can make units, particularly if you have 7 or 8 on a base. You don't need all 10 to get a small unit of them. Buy a few packs, you get 2 units of zombie trolls.
Yeah, so would the undead armies be updated so you could use things like this?
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be. I mean, as you know, the next thing that we're thinking about doing is a small Kings of War mini kick.
Right.
And this is where the idea being, this is one of the other 4 ideas that came up. So the Kings of War skirmish, but I think that would be just a great, really powerful, exciting tactical war game, skirmish game. The King of War is where we started, that's what we've been doing up until that point really. But compared to how many people come in when you say, here's a dungeon crawler, do you want it? I'm hoping, 20,000 people say yes! But it's approachable, it's understandable, you've got a bigger market, whereas the Kings of War stuff is more towards hardcore war gamers. So I just don't know what it's going to do. So what I want to say is, listen, we want to do the Abyssal Army. It's, $25,000, that's what we need. We can put it all into the tooling. Anyone else who wants to get in, here's these armies to get a pick from, so you can join. This is what Kings of War's about. Here you go. I'd like to do it as an opportunity to, at the moment, the Kings of War rulebook is the full hardback rulebook. It's got fluff in it and it's got some army lists. So for 20 quid, you are playing a full war game. And I think the interesting thing is that book is now selling as well as it ever has, because people go, I'll try Dead Zone, well, that's good. Oh, I'll try Kings of War. Oh, it is different than Warhammer. That's what we've been saying for 3 years. It's not the same game. It's quicker. It's different. It's 2 different games.
So you can sell figures.
Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah. You may say that. I couldn't possibly. So I think it'll be just good fun when we go back and we say, hi guys, we've got a big audience now that like doing this and that, but there's still a load of hardcore Kings of War guys who'd love to fund this. If that funded well, Nature Army. In fact, there's probably more love for the Nature Army now than there is the Abyssals actually, so because it's totally unique, it's really good fun, and I think it's developing. When you see the Salamander, you'll see where we're taking it. But we could just do little mini Kickstarters that we'll run it, maybe we run it off Kickstarter or we run it on, but when we get to this figure, we'll sculpt all that. We could also use it, so the way to bring everybody in will be to take the rulebook, make it A5, the size A4, softback, let's say softback A5, none of the background, none of the fluff in it, because that still exists. We put the errata in, but we change no rules, so it's version 1.1, it's a software update, it's not 2.0. And we put updated army lists, because at the moment the Basilean one isn't in print, because the Basilean book sold through, Basilean Exit sold through. Heroes and Legends has the ogres in it, so the army list is starting to get dotted around. There's a few new ones, so they need updating. The undead would have the zombie trolls in it, and we could take a load of the heroes and put new hero characters in and that match up the models and everything else. And so what I think could be really good fun is a 10 quid. It'll give us 2 more years, cleans the rules up, takes the art, puts all the army lists back in one place. Anyone that's currently playing, a lot, happily to pick up a 10 quid book and get everything fresh and get it all in one place.
10 quid book with all the army lists on it.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, £12.50. 15 quid. Yeah, exactly. And there's PDF, but it's just the whole idea of it. It gives a couple more years. At some point, we'll come back to Kings of War, do the 2.0 version, or the 4.0, depending how you count, and then update the background. We'll update that. We'll do another big 200-page rulebook, and again, there'll be new army lists, there'll be new models that come out, and that can keep rolling. But I think that would be a good little Kickstarter where those people that love that can keep that fresh, and there's a lot of people playing Kings of War at the moment, and it's great, it's exciting, but it's how do we keep developing it, moving it on. We are getting to a place where not everybody is going to want to do every Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I think there's hardcore fans that love what we do.
They can't afford to do every
Kickstarter. Right. You certainly can't afford to do all of them fully, and I don't want to put people in that position, and that's where A lot of people say, well, I didn't dive into Mars Attacks, but I'm absolutely having it at retail.
Yeah.
You know, I love where it is, okay, and I can have that choice, and you know, and I'm great with that because it helps the retailers sell volumes. You know, I think there's games out there where, and the truth is, you know, Dead Zone, Dreadpool did 2,500 on Kickstarter, and we're at 12,000 plus editions now sold. So the retailers have sold 4 times as many as we sold on Kickstarter, largely because that was what the Kickstarter funded.
Yeah.
They would have been in metal and they would have been £25–30 a team.
It would have been a quarter of them.
Yeah, because I made the first 4 and then when they were successful, the next 4. Whereas when a retailer says, is it going to get supported? So there's 12 teams coming, there's 3 books coming, there's the Giants coming, there's an Ultimate version coming, and by the way, it did that. Okay, I mean, I will stop that.
No one wants to play a game where you've got 2 armies.
Not going to work anymore. And that's the one thing. And people say, oh, you're too big for Kickstarter. Are you joking? You know, believe you me, the amount of money that we plough back into tooling. Give you a clue, in Dead Zone, we overspent by $80,000. Overspent.
What you commissioned compared to what you got in?
So we had a forecast of X that we were going to spend on it.
Yeah.
We overspent it by $80,000.
Wow.
Yes, still you giving us extra trousers.
Yeah, exactly. There we are. That's how we roll. And 3 shippings. It is painful.
I must say, Ronnie, when I heard you were coming, I was quite excited. I was really disappointed because I was going to berate you for the poor communication of the Kickstarters. And 2 weeks ago, that Dead Zone Kickstarter, that update was one of the best I've seen for a long time. So I think there's going to be more of that coming from the other Kickstarters.
There is. I mean, it's one of those things. We got a little bit where the control page. That was a suggestion by a chap called Rob. I've got his letter in here. I'd had it in my bag for many months. And he sent a really sensible, intelligent letter, just saying, "Know what you're doing these 2 things wrong. You're an idiot." And it probably wasn't anything I didn't know, but having someone present it to you in a written, sensible format kind of gives you nowhere to run. And not only did he tell me what we're doing wrong, which lots of people do, he said, and these things will make it better.
Yes.
And yeah, those are the things that are really helpful, because I can just take that, I literally just passed it down the team. So I'll read it, sign it, and give it back to me when you have done. Because it's really useful, and so the control hub was one of those. I'm trying to find the email that you came in last week where you said, "Oh, you what a very sensible idea! Very sensible idea. You bloody well told me to do it." So, and we just with the move, with the amount of stuff that was coming through, the new team, you know, we doubled and doubled again in terms of staffing levels. And to stay true to the Mantic principle, you know, we might always get it right, but we try our best. You know, we'll fire on with enthusiasm and passion as you know, all those things started meaning that the last 12, 15 months were just crazy. I mean, it's, you know, we were going quite fast, we were chugging along, and then it was like finding the accelerator, and then the nitro glycerine button. And we took off. And I think, you know, tooling all that, getting that released, getting it made, starting to move out using China so we can bring the prices down, and the volumes went up. Give you an example of biggest ever print run. Dreadpool print run was 3,000. Dead Zone print run, first one was 5,000. No, it was 10,000.
Is that 5?
Yeah, 5,000 Kickstarter, 10,000. Mars Attacks is 12,000. I think we're about 800 left. With 3 months to go. So it's going to be sold out before it launches.
That's not a bad place to be.
So now I want the last 800 to sell. So I can place a reorder. Because until I've got those 800, I can't place a reorder. But we'll sold those. Hopefully, what? Friday? Friday. Excellent. You heard it. It's a salesman's promise.
It's on camera.
Yeah, exactly. Pan it round and get on him. In blood. So yeah, it's just time to scale up. And then Adam knows what the next one can do. This Dungeon Crawler, I think to get that right. Dungeon Sagas will really go to. So I think we are working harder. We're going to do less better. Hit some scale. We know what we're doing better and how to plan each campaign. And just be cautious. Because these Kickstarters are wild things because you go into them thinking this is what we're going to do and that's what we're going to do, and then out you go, and you've always planted some, bomb right in the middle of it that you haven't thought about, and you go, oh, what have we done that for? What? Oh yeah, logically that makes sense, but right now, some of those all-you-can-eat pledge levels that we had, the problem with those is they make sense at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. If we tool all of this, then that will be incredible value. But 2 weeks in, you've had your first Flurry and you're chugging along, people go, wait a second, I'm not going to get enough soldiers. You say, well, you are, because the last day is going to do $200,000. They always do it. Yeah. You'll get 3. So, we're never doing those all you can eat ever again. And maybe on the last day we'll say, do you want everything? It's there. But going to the last weekend, there it is, that'll get it. But I don't like that. I like people to just get a good starting point. Come in when you're ready. Some come in right at the beginning, get the early bird pledges because they know what's going to happen. It's going to be worth many times that. But other people, no, I want to see. Okay, I wanted the character development. I wanted this. Right, I'm in now. And that's nice because it means that more people are joining all the time. Your pledge total keeps steadily going up. And on the final weekend, a lot of people come back and say, right, oh, I'm getting that, I'm getting that, and that. Okay, yeah, okay. And then you have a nice big strong finish, and it's as if it's happening. They're kind of fun as well. They're great fun. Slightly draining. I'm quite excited. I'm so excited today. It's been a while since we've had one. See me in 4 weeks, I'll be.
This is just thinking, but up to the run to Mars Attacks, you got Dead Zone, Mars Attacks in fact, and Dreadball Extreme coming out. I mean, what's that, 3 months? 6. Oh,
so we're going to go Dungeon Sagas tomorrow. It'll be a month. And then it's going to be Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
We're coming to the end of the Dead Zone Phase 2. That's all shipping in the next few weeks, and then the Forge Fathers and the Stereos are going out to retail. We've put that with that book, so the book's been out. Retail can start picking up on the Forge Fathers, a lot of those. The Mysterians are starting to really get their own shape and space. But we've been working on Dead Zone really for the last 2 months, I think, through retail. So Dead Zone's drawing to an end in next phase. It's out there and people can game it, get familiar with it, have a read of the books. DKQ is interesting because what happens is you do the Kickstarter, which is kind of, certainly for me and all of other teams, it's kind of hugely obsessive for a month. And then it vanishes back into the design studio. And Stuart then rips it out of my hands. You're not seeing any of it. Can we look at what? No, it's all, I know I've got to deliver now, none of you know, nah, runs off. He is more to this, by the way, that's what he posted. So, seen it for 6 months. The Kickstarter backers will see the updates as the sculpts come through, but it kind of vanishes out of the psyche. So, come the end of August, Bree will have a quiet week, and then, actually, the real world is Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
That's the physical product that's coming out. That's what Mark was out yesterday showing at the show. That's what everyone was playing last night. Because that's physically what's there, and for other than a very few people who backed the Kickstarter, the reality, the world we actually live in, is going to be Mars Attacks. And then just towards the end of the year, Dreadball Extreme.
Yeah. Just thinking you can have no room in your warehouse.
We don't already. So I think we're going to ship this quarter, so this month, next month and the month after, we're going to ship as much as we did in the whole of 2012. 3 months. And that was busy. We're doing that in 3 months.
I expect it all painted by the end of the month.
You can't arrange a price.
I'll just refer to the book of depravity.
So what about more Dead Zone? I know you just said, yeah, it's all finished, it's all being done, but the other races that are out there in the Warpath universe, I'd love to see all of them brought into Dead Zone.
So we've been having this chat about Warpath, the war game, versus popping back into Dead Zone.
Right.
And I think the reality is that we should go back into Dead Zone first,
Yeah.
have another race,
Or
add some,
three.
or three. That might be up to you guys. Add another race, add another story, add some more new different scenery, you know, maybe a different mat. And have some fun with that. It'll allow us to do some more hard plastics, which will allow us two things: more time. I played a game of Warpath the other week that was really rather good. It's just, but it's that hard for them when I say, you know, we want to make a sci-fi war game. Dead Zone's a skirmish game, and I think we could also tighten up Dead Zone a little bit. There's a couple of wrinkles in it because it was such a big, ambitious project. Revisiting it, adding some more new thing is maybe an updated rulebook for every backer, just in there. We'll just sharpen it up, or even a more clean. I think it would be a really good way of keeping building the platform without intimidating people. Because I think a lot of people, when I go and take this round, yesterday, well, I think we ran out at 2 o'clock. Yeah, ran out of Dead Zone games at 2 o'clock. Because when you run it and you demo it, people go, oh, I like that. Yeah, and you've got rid of the movement and everything else. And because we know the scenery is 3 inches high by 3 inches wide, we don't line of sight, whereas the whole thing is really clean. We could keep building that, and then suddenly people realise, well, I've got 25 enforcers, or I've got 15 enforcers, I've got some vermin. So I've got these Asterias, I've got a couple of the hard plastic set. Well, you know, I can also configure these into well, here's the beta for Warpath. You know, why don't you play with a couple of units and see what that feels like? And people have started to discover the world and the universe, and I think that's as much of the thing about playing a war game as it is the actual rules. I think for some it's the rules, for some it's the background, for most it's a nice combination of everything. For some it's, I understand the worlds, and I love the rule set, and I love the models. I think you get all three of those. I love the models, how they look and how they go together and how they assemble. You start creating a really exciting place. If we can go into the Warpath Kickstarter with all the basic troops taken care of, most of the heroes taken care of, a lot of the elite units taken care of, we can go straight into vehicles. And I think a sci-fi war game is all about vehicles. And I don't mean 1 or 2 big pieces, you know, 1 or 2, 3. I mean squads of vehicles.
So is there any